Hello, citizens of Gotham. Can you see and hear me all right? My name is Graham Elwood. You are watching and listening to the Political Vigilante, broadcasting live Sunday, September 27th, 2020. What's up? Just watching Eleanor and Lee Camp. All right, let's go. Let's go. Let's do it. You see and hear me right on. Outstanding. Good to see you, everybody. Yo, hello, everybody. Stage eventer, Maddie. Yes. Got the haircut right on. Thank you. I did get a haircut. Thank you. Thank you so much. Just keep the Superman curl going. Did I get this right? I have the curls different ways. I don't know what I'm doing. Whatever. Hello. Truth to tweet. What's up? You watching UFC light heavyweight fight from last night? All right, on. How was it? Not a soccer shirt. This is a LA Sparks. They just lost in the playoffs. WNBA shirt. They lost in the playoffs, made me mad, but they have Breanna Stewart on every single jersey that every player has in that league. So I like supporting that league. Thank you. My condolences, Graham. If you need anything, I really appreciate that. Yeah, some of you know this. My father passed away Thursday, and Wednesday night, Thursday morning, depending on what time zone you're in. And that's why I haven't been live. And I didn't even know if I wanted to go live today, but I kind of miss doing this actually. So I haven't done a show, I think, since Monday, because I got the news Tuesday that my father's 84 and his health has not been good the last couple of years. He's been sort of in and out of hospitals, and he's been in hospice for a while. And I've gotten he doesn't have much time. I mean, I've heard that he could go any day now, kind of for like over a year probably. But Tuesday, it was really, I spoke with my brother because my dad was in Chicago, and it was very much like they are now saying he's got 24 to 48 hours. So yeah, some of you have lost your parents, you've lost your dad, and I appreciate that. So, he was in a lot of pain, and he was saying to me and to all of us, oh God, I'm ready to go. He's been saying that for a couple of years now. My stepmother, his wife passed away about 7 years ago. So I think he obviously very much missed her. She passed away very suddenly. She was a lot younger than my dad. When I heard the news he passed away, it's obviously sad, but I'm also very much glad that he's out of pain. It just sucked. And, he's in Illinois, which doesn't have euthanasia laws. And I just, it's funny talking about this with my brother. It's like, why shouldn't he should be allowed that? Like, I really get seeing this up close and seeing my dad deteriorate, and how uncomfortable he was. And my brother saw it in person. I saw it over the phone and, FaceTime and stuff. My brother had to watch it in real time. And, my brother said had he been living in Oregon, which is a state that has euthanasia. I'm not sure how many states have it. I don't think it's a lot. He would have been able to choose to leave a while ago. He could have left several months ago or whatever. And, I just remember all the Jack Cavor, everyone's, the religious right, just, how dare, who the fuck is the religious right to deny somebody to choose their own death with dignity? And it really resonates with me a lot because as many of you know, I've studied Japanese martial arts, including the Iaijitsu, which is a samurai sword. And I've studied a fair amount of the samurai culture. And harikari, which is the act of doing it, and seppuku is sort of the other name that's called to, it's like ritual suicide on how to, seppuku is like how you regain your honor and, die with dignity. And it's just such a stupid, it's another stupid thing that like Europe and Christianity has forced on us. Like, live till the end, like get to this, this American competitive, like get to this number. I got to live to be as long. No, I saw what my dad went through the last couple of years, and I don't want any part of that. I don't want any part of it. I like, if you told me, Graham, you're going to be able to surf and do yoga and do comedy and be mentally cognizant and physically able to be physically active and do all these things until you're 70 years old. And you told me that. You said you'd 70. When you hit 70 or 75, let's call it 75. When it's 75, you can do and you can do everything you're doing now, yoga, surfing, physically active, be funny, have the brain capacity to be a comedian and do this show until you're 75. And one day you'll just die. Or you can live to be like 84, 85, but the last 4 years of your life are going to be shitty. In and out of hospitals, breaking this, physical therapy, and then eventually this awful slow decline that's just painful for you and everyone around you. I'd be like, punch out at 75. Like, let's good. I'm 51. All right, you're telling me I got 24 years to live? Great. Brad, I'm in. And I think I want to talk about this a lot because Americans have this weird concept with death, and having studied more Eastern philosophy, and I highly recommend to study that if you haven't. And if you get something out of Christianity, that's fine. Great. There's a lot of wonderful sentiments in the Bible, but really, if you're going to be a Christian, really understand who Jesus was. I don't think Jesus would have been like, live till the bitter end and be uncomfortable and die without dignity. And, this is a little graphic and a little gnarly, but and I don't say this as any sort of disrespect to what my dad had to go through or anyone's parents had to go through. My dad basically had blood in his stool and he just bled to death that way. Like, how awful is that? That's awful. It wasn't fun and then my brother was telling me he like wanted some pain medication, but like legally the hospice team could only give him so much or what. And you're just like, and he wanted water and he could only drink like this coagulated water and stuff like that. It's just like, what the fuck? So Americans, and I've noticed this from studying Eastern philosophy and traveling around the world and meeting people in different cultures, Americans really have a weird thing with death. And I think it's because we've been sold, part of the American exceptionalism is like, we can do everything and we get everything we want. And so we still have we don't face death well in this country. Even just like, I've heard people at funerals like, I was good. I was brave. I didn't cry. What? A friend of mine's mom died last year, and I've known him for a long time, and I knew his mom. She was really cool. I stayed at their house, when we were in college and stuff. And he was like crying on the phone. And he was apologizing, like, I'm sorry, I'm out of, I got to pull myself together. I'm like, no, you like grieve, cry. It's a normal process. It's okay to like, your body needs to release it from a physiological level. Like they've even done studies, emotional tears have a different chemical composition than like the tears of like you're sneezing or you get something in your eye. It's a different chemical composition, which says that emotions are in us, and stress and pain and suffering and loss, and they're in us on a cellular level. And you need to release it. You need to release it. Like one of the problems why we have toxic masculinity in this country is we tell men, young boys especially, don't cry, suck it up, don't cry. And it's like, no, there's a difference between a child that's like throwing a temper tantrum because they don't get their way, and some people act that way as adults, versus you should cry. Like when my friend said, I'll be better in about 2 weeks. I said, you don't need to, dude, you can cry for a year. Some cultures mourn for a year. I mean, I have many good friends of mine that are Jewish who are like, yeah, you sit Shiva for a week. You take a whole week and you just do nothing for a week, and people come by the house, and that's a great culture. When my samurai instructor, Master Shimabukuro, who was Hanshi, which means exemplary warrior, and he has this book, Flashing Steel. I highly recommend you read it. If you don't, the first half of the book is all Buddhist and samurai philosophy. The second half is like technique. So if you don't, whatever. But even if you don't want to read the technique, read the samurai philosophy. It'll give you a better insight into who I am and what this show is about. And I remember it was a Buddhist funeral, and they did the chanting. There was this Buddhist priest or monk or whatever they call it, and he was like doing this chant. And then people would go up and line up and pray, and you could put incense in, and it lasted for an hour. And people gave some wonderful speeches, and they said, mourn the loss for a year. And that doesn't mean, to me, my interpretation of that is not like, oh, I walk around and wear black, but just like Paul X BSOG height. And it was just like, think about them. And like, I learned so much from my samurai instructor. So I would just implement his stuff into my life. And when my stepmom passed away, she was a nurse. She was a wonderful person. She gave me this wonderful poem. If I can, keep one heart from breaking, I shall not live in vain. If I can ease one life from making, I shall live. If I can, take a fainting robin into its nest again, I shall not live in vain. I think it was Emily Dickinson poem. And she taught me wonderful stuff, and so I just carry this stuff that she brought to me. And so, my dad and I had a rocky relationship, because he admitted this to me. He was an alcoholic. And so that was tough to deal with sometimes. But I made amends to him, and I made my peace with the man several years ago. And so there was no like anger or unresolved anything when he passed. It was just like I get to look at, like, Americans really have a problem with death, man. They really have a problem. And I don't get it, because it's like, we're all going to die. It's all going to happen. There's 7.5 billion people on the planet. Every single person is going to have a last day on this earth. Now, the way things are going, it might all happen at once, but so it's important to grieve. It's important to cry, and grief kind of doesn't, it's not, grief is, it's not a straight line. It's tangential, and you'll have days and moments, and it's okay, and let it out. And that there's so much in America, like, oh, don't cry. Or people say, oh, I lost it the other day. And you're like, well, what happened? Oh, I was just crying. Well, that's okay. That's a good thing. It's a good thing to cry. It's a good thing, to let it out. And we don't want to do that in this country. And then we're so scared of death. I think that's what a lot of this, like, some of the reactions to death, because it's this thing we can't control. It's like some of these like survivalist Second Amendment people, gotta have a gun, and you get rid of this, and society's going to collapse, and whatever. We're still, everyone's going to die, right? And regardless of what happens in November, a million years from now, this planet could just be done. A meteor could hit it, the sun could burn out, and it's over. 1,000 years from now, 100 years from now, 20 years from now. So everything, all life on planet Earth is going to end. And that means anything anybody did, any song written, anything the hieroglyphics, anything in a museum, Abraham Lincoln speeches, anybody, Gandhi, anything they did, anything that's part of our collective, it's all going to get wiped out and it's going to be gone. It's going to get turned into dust. And that's the universe. That's like when I started studying like Tibetan philosophy, the Tibetans do this. I don't know if you've ever seen it, Tibetan sand art. And I would look it up online, and it's this very intricate, these like little painted pieces of sand. And it takes weeks and sometimes months to make. And it's this beautiful, intricate thing that's put together, all these stones of different colors and all this stuff, right? And it's amazing. And then you know what they do? They put it out in the wind and let the wind blow it away. Everybody gets to enjoy it, but the whole, it's like, why? And an American would be like, why would you spend all that time making that art and then just let it get blown away? Because we have this, as is said here by Pacho El Carnivoro. Sorry, dude, if I butchered your name. Sorry, dude, I gringoed up your name. My bad, bro. Shave your knuckles for justice. High gram death is very natural. Yes, it is. It's going to happen to all of us. I think Americans are too tied up in material things. I think you're 100% right. I think that's such a big part of it, is we're all tied up. We can buy and do anything we want in America, get anything we want, whenever we want. It's all us. It's all me, me, me. And it's like, I think it's, so people, we're too tied up in material things, and death is this non-material thing. And again, going back to the Tibetan sand art, the whole purpose of that exercise is to spend all this time and effort making this art, and then it gets blown away. That's life. I work hard doing this show. You all work hard doing whatever you're doing in your lives. We all, like, I spent time going to school and learning this. I've been a comedian for 20 some years, and the show takes a lot of time, and I love doing it. And I spent all this time. I did yoga today, I work out and all this stuff. And eventually it's going to be gone. And that's okay. That's the beauty of it, which should then teach you. And Americans' reaction to that is like, yeah, I got to buy it. I'm going to get a gun. Like, I think some of these gun nuts, I'm like, do you think your guns, and your canned food or whatever, you think that's going to make you immortal? Like, that's some of these MAGA people, like that that's why they're like, there's no COVID, because they can't shoot COVID with a gun. Whereas what it should make you do, and what a lot of these Eastern philosophies and religions and classic spiritual texts talk about, that's why you live in the moment. Every single person in your life that you care about, there is going to be a last day that you see them and talk to them, whether you know it or not. Maybe it'll be like what I did. I got to FaceTime with my dad on Tuesday. My brother brought up the camera. I got to say bye. My dad still recognized, hey, Graham. He's barely alive, quite honestly. The last time I saw him in person was October of 2017. I was working in Chicago, and he was in the hospital at that time. And I went to go say hi to him in person. And I walked out of that hospital. I thought, this might be the last time. I've had several times where I've seen my dad and thought, this might be the last time. And then I see him again. Okay. So it's why I live in the moment. And I don't believe in the YOLO of like selfish, like, oh, I'm just going to sleep around and steal and spend money and be a dick, not that YOLO, not the selfish American consumerism YOLO, but hey, tell your friends you love them. The last 3 years, especially of doing this show, and also when I went through all the stuff, if you watch my Me Too story that I went through, and memories of childhood trauma and having to get a restraining order against an ex-girlfriend, really, really difficult, painful stuff. Way more of me and my guy friends say I love you than we ever used to. And I was a guy who played sports, and, maybe a guy friend would say, I love you, brother. And I'd say, okay. And maybe we joke about it or whatever. But now it's just like, hey man, I love you, brother. Like it's a good thing to share and experience. And, I was surfing at the beach yesterday. It was just beautiful. And I went to go charge my car, and then I was like looking at the clock. Well, maybe I should get back for this. And I was like, no, we're going back to the beach to watch the sunset. And I saw a beautiful sunset. And if I die in my sleep tonight, I'm going to go surfing after this. Today was a great day. I was kind to everybody I met. We're going to talk about some political stuff. My friends and family know, the ones that I'm close to know that I love them, know I care about them. The people that we had falling outs with, well, sorry. Maybe look in the mirror and discuss your behavior, why your behavior created that situation. But I mean, I had a great phone call with my ex-wife. She called me and she was from Brazil and we're still friends. And she said this wonderful thing, English obviously is not her second language, or it is not her first language. Portuguese is her first language. And so she speaks very good English now. But when she first moved to this country back in 2008, her English was not very good at all. And she's like, some friends of hers recently sort of made fun of her for her accent or her English. She's not speaking perfectly all the time grammatically or whatever. And some friends made fun of her, gave her a hard time about it. And she took us, Ram, when that happened, I thought about your post when I saw that your father passed away, and he was always kind and listened and tried to speak Portuguese with me and treated me with dignity and respect. And I said, yeah, that's my dad. Unless you pissed him off. If you pissed him off, maybe he'd be different. But he was always, especially because he understood being a foreigner. And my father had a PhD and he spoke 3 languages, and one of them was German. We lived in Germany. Well, my family lived in Germany in the 60s before I was born. They lived in Berlin back when the wall was up. And then when I was a kid in the 70s, we lived in Munich. And Germany in the 60s and 70s, there was a lot of resentment. There was a lot of like, oh, yay, Americans. But there was also a lot of resentments because America, won the war. And some Germans were not like, oh, God, Hitler was a monster. They were just mad that he lost. So you don't build up this crazy, awful, evil Nazi army and then people just go, oh, sorry. Like there's some people who are like, we should have won that war or whatever. So there was definitely some resentment towards us. And I got into fights every day when I was in the first grade. Every single day I had to fight German kids. Every single day. And my dad had to, he had a loud voice and a temper. And if anyone messed with his kids, that's the thing I did like about him. He'd yell at us, and there was some not great stuff that happened growing up, but man, would he defend us. And so he understood, and I explained this to my ex-wife, he understood what it was like to be a foreigner in another country. I did too. I took a lot of shit as a 5-6-year-old kid. I had to fight German kids every day. I still have a little towards Germans, a little sometimes. I've met plenty of wonderful Germans. I know there's Germans that watch the show, and that's so cool. But if I come across, when I was in Germany and some like gate agent with the airline gave me a little German attitude, I would just like, anyway, my point is to say that my dad understood what it was like to be a foreigner in another country, and he loved traveling and learning about other cultures. And he imparted that with me. And I shared that to my ex-wife. I was like, that's why he was really cool and respectful of you, because we knew what it was like. We took a lot of shit as this American family in the mid-70s living in Munich, Germany. And yeah, so it was really beautiful. When she told me that, I started crying. I said, what a beautiful, so thank you for telling me that. What a wonderful thing that my father imparted, And a big part of this show, so my dad was a research professor, and he was never one of these people that was like, these kids today. He never said that. The most he would say is, oh, there's a generation gap. I just don't get that younger people are doing. He never was like, these millennials, he would very much go, hey, to his students, put the phones down and really learn how to interact. You want to be, because he was a acting, a theater professor. He's like, you want to learn how to act, you better learn how to do this. You can't act doing that. But he was a professor at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and he taught the grad students there. And then he was a dean at Emerson University in Boston. And then he retired. He kept retiring, and we were always like, he's not going to stay retired. He just loved working. He loved what he did. And he had this thirst for knowledge, loved reading, loved learning things. And I got some of that from him for sure. My mom is way more like artsy creative. Not that my father isn't creative, but he's like an academic and she's more like an artist. So I got both of those traits from them, that combination of things. So, you know, we went to museums a lot when I was a kid living in Germany. And as a kid, I was like, oh, this sucks. I hate this. But I loved it. I loved it. Now I love that I was raised with that different culture, and I love going to museums and learning about different people and all that stuff. And so, so his thirst for knowledge and research and get the facts, it's a big part of what this show is, right? I say follow the money. I say do the research, try to get it right. You know, that's what I've said on this show from day one. Like, you might not agree with me and I might get it wrong, but it's my opinion based on what research I've come up with. And if I get it wrong, I'll admit it. And if I say something that you don't agree with, just know I'm coming to this opinion honestly. I didn't come to this opinion because the network told me I got to say this, or, hey, man, Boeing buys a lot of ad time, Graham. You can't go after the war machine. And that's from him, man. That was his ethics. That's who he was. And he wasn't a big dude. He wasn't a fighter. He's this 5'8", 5'9" college professor. And me and my brother were more like stockier sport athlete. We both played football kind of stuff. But he didn't take shit, man. I remember one time he came to visit me in LA and we were taking the bus. We went to the Getty Museum because it's a fantastic museum. If you ever get to LA, when they open everything back up, go to the Getty. And I took him there. And we were riding the bus back. I was living in the Valley at the time before I lived by the beach. And, you know, a lot of Latinos in LA, especially in the Valley. I was living in Van Nuys. And this woman behind us, Latina woman, and this like white trash guy sits next to her. And he starts, and this is in the early 2000s. And he starts like, speak English, man. This is America. And he starts saying this to this woman. And I'm sitting there like, okay, how do I deal with this guy? I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I turn around and say something. If he gets violent, what do I do? And I'm trying to plan this all out. And while I'm going through this thought process, my dad, who was in his 60s at the time, again, not a big imposing man at all, not a fighter, has no martial arts training, nothing, just turns around and goes, knock it off. And the guy goes, what? And I go, man, you keep, and then I jumped in. I was like, you keep hassling that lady, leave her alone. And my dad goes, I'm tired of your racist nonsense, knock it off. And then he turned his back on the guy, which I was like, well, that's a mistake, Dad. That's a guy that you haven't studied any fighting. You don't turn your back on someone that you're arguing with. So then I just turn around and I'm just looking at this guy the whole time to make sure he doesn't do anything. And then I go, maybe you ought to get off the bus. And he got off the next bus. But that's my dad. Wasn't going to take shit from anybody. Just wasn't going to take it. Didn't care if this guy got violent. Didn't give a shit. He was just like, no, he's not my dad. He came up to like, here's this little college professor guy. He's not physically imposing at all. But he just said, knock it off. And he has a very loud voice. So where I get my loud voice. So that's my father. I sort of rambled on a little bit. But Americans, it's okay to accept death. It's okay. It's a natural thing. It's going to happen. You should cry when somebody passes away. And if you were angry at them, it's okay to let that anger out in some healthy manner, not take it out on other people and start fights and yell at people. That's bullshit. Find a healthy release for the anger. Anger's like fire. When we use fire in a controlled environment, we can cook with it. We can make things, metal, glass. You know, we can drive our cars. We can heat. We can do all these wonderful things. When fire is out of control, like we've been seeing in the West Coast, it destroys. And that's the thing with anger. When anger's focused, like I'm pissed off, like I'm sure Rosa Parks was angry and she was like, nope. And she sat down and did this amazing act, right? That inspired a lot of people. And that was probably, or she was probably there's some pissed, there had to have been anger in her. There was anger in Dr. King. He was like, no. And it motivates you. Many of you who are activists are getting in the streets and becoming activists because you're mad. You're a little pissed off. Now you can get mad and take it out on your friends and family. You can get mad and get into a fight with somebody. You can get a gun. You can do all this crazy shit. Or you can say, no, I'm going to focus this anger on fixing this. It's going to be a motivator. And that's a thing I got from him. So it's okay to talk about death. It's okay to plan for it. It's okay to be sad when somebody dies, and also celebrate their life when people are like, oh my God, like some people are like, and I appreciate the people like, oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you. But some people are like, oh, it's such a tragedy. It's not a tragedy that an 85-year-old man died. I mean, that's a pretty good run. When a kid dies, Yemen's a tragedy. Yemen is Breonna Taylor. That's a tragedy. That didn't need to happen. Someone in their 80s, you know, it's not a tragedy. It's just, that's life. So thanks for supporting the show, everybody. I'll read some super chats. I probably missed a few. Crafty Geek, shave your knuckles for justice. Did you hear Tesla's pioneering cobalt-free battery tech, heavy use of nickel, and looking to source lithium from Nevada within the next 3 to 5 years? Battery Day. Oh, wow. That's interesting, Crafty Geek. And thank you so much. You're a big supporter of the show, and I appreciate it. That's a thing we've talked about on this show before. As a person that drives an electric car, I've always said the electric battery is it's not the perfect solution, because all these minerals have to get mined, and you can destroy the environment getting an electric car. Just, so finding batteries, cobalt-free battery tech that has a heavy use of nickel, and looking to source lithium from Nevada within the next 3 to 5 years. Well, that's cool. And thanks for bringing that to our attention. That's one of the things we've talked about, is what, like when I talked about the Olivera, that is a very plentiful mineral that I've done that video where you put it on the beach and then it pulls CO2 out of the air and buries it under the ocean in about 2 to 3 years. And it's a process that occurs naturally, but it takes about 1,000 years. So that's what we need to find minerals and source and stuff that can be used. That's like algae. When I've talked about the algae that pulls the CO2 out of the algae, is very easy. You can make it in a lab. You can grow it in your sink probably in a matter of days. So that's cool, man. Thanks for bringing that up, Crafty Geek. And you're a big supporter of the Patreon, and you submit amazing articles every month. And I know this last week I haven't done anything, and I haven't responded to anybody's Patreon or any of that stuff, but whoops. I will. I'm not surprised to hear your dad was intelligent. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you, Sailor Man. I would love to visit Berlin one day. I'd love to visit Berlin too, because I remember as a kid, now I'd love to go back because I remember the Berlin Wall. I mean, I remember Checkpoint Charlie. I remember all of that. And it's like, I'd love to just go to East Berlin. My mom went there years ago after the wall came down. She goes, I couldn't believe it. We were getting Starbucks in East Berlin. She goes, I just remember, because they lived in Berlin in like 1966 and the wall was up and the Cold War was in full force. And it was like, I remember as a kid going to Berlin when we lived in Germany and seeing the grave markers by the wall of people trying to jump over the fence, and then seeing these East German guards with machine guns. It was crazy. God, that was crazy. Tony DeMeo, starting to think Obama was a fascist. He crushed Occupy Wall Street, passed the NDAA, and sent the army to Flint and Dapo. Yeah. Yes. And liberals just went to sleep. And if you criticize Obama today, oh, you're going to let Trump win. Liberals are the problem. I'm telling you, the neoliberals are the problem. The right wing has always been the right wing. The big corporations have always been. The biggest barrier we've had to like getting real lefty, pro-labor, anti-war, pro-environment policy out there, getting free college, getting student debt forgiveness, getting free healthcare, all these things that they've had in Europe for 70 years. It's liberals that get in the way. They're the ones who said pie in the sky. They're the problem. Yes, conservatives Fox News calls Biden a socialist or whatever. It's just fucking so stupid. They're the problem, man. Tisha T, what's up, Tisha? Thank you for supporting the show. Do you think you're the man you are from your dad and being a comedian from being bullied as a kid? Whew. Well, thank you, Tisha. That's a fantastic question and an emotional one. I definitely think a big part of who I am comes from my dad. Some comes from a lot, it takes a village. Some comes from, since my parents got divorced when I was 9, and so he moved out of the house when I was 9, and then we moved from Wisconsin to Chicago when I was 11, and that was tough. And I really started, it was sports. So like a lot of my sports coaches and athletes, I looked up to them and learned a lot from them. But my dad's thirst for knowledge, for sure. I think being a comedian came from several things. Yeah, I mean, being the youngest of 4, I was definitely bullied within my own family, and being funny, you learn as a young kid. Like, if I can make everybody laugh, I'm not going to get bullied or hit or whatever. I mean, being bullied in my family, being bullied by the German kids. And then when I moved from Wisconsin to Chicago, I was in a junior high that was 60% black. So I had to take a lot of shit, like, as a white kid. And so, yes, I'm sure being a comedian came out of that. It's also why I played football, because I was so angry, and because of the abuse and everything. And my parents were like, "Oh, don't be angry. You're getting," they were like hippie. It's kind of controlling, without really analyzing, like, why is this kid so angry? It's just like, stop being angry. No one was like, hey, what? Maybe did something happen? Why is this kid so angry? They just go, my mom would just go, your temper. Like, oh, you got one too, lady. But it's why I loved playing football, because that was a place I could get out my anger and aggression in a controlled environment. And I got a lot of respect playing football. So like guys that were like maybe bullying me or pushing me around in school, they'd see me on the football field and I'd lay them out, and they'd like, okay, cool, man. All right, Elwood, we're good. Oh, maybe you're not this little scrawny white kid we can push around. You just fucking put me on my ass. Yeah, but there's a lot of, I think too, I realized I never wanted to have a real job, because I just saw all these like dads when I was a kid growing up, just like, just had some job, and a dad, it was always like the work. Dad just went to work and came back angry. I just saw that with all my friends' dads. And I was like, I don't want to do that. That seems like a bummer. And I sort of was always had I want to go against the grain kind of a thing. But I really loved being, my parents met when they were both in theater school and University of Iowa. They were both theater students. My mom was an undergrad. My dad was in grad school. So like performing was definitely encouraged in my home as a kid growing up. And we'd put on plays at Christmas and stuff like that. So that was, that was encouraged. So like, I was never told like, you got to get a real job. When I got married and money was tight, and I was like, oh God, I need some help financially, and the economic crisis hit, and I was trying to save my home, and I asked my parents for money. That's when they were like, you got to get your real job. I was like, oh, what happened to the, okay. But also I just, I got addicted to that, getting a laugh. And so I'd say some wise ass remark in class and get everybody to laugh. And I loved it. And all my parent teacher conferences was, Graham's a leader, but he leads the class in the wrong direction. I'm sure some neoliberals would say the same thing about this show. Graham, you're telling people not to vote for Biden. You're going to help Trump win, just like you did with Gilstein. Yeah. East Germany is not in the Hitler mentality. They're in the anti-establishment mentality. They have been screwed over by West Germany since unification. Interesting to know. The older I got, the smarter my dad became. Interesting. Yeah. That's nice. I do only answer to Big Kale. You found me out. But Graham, meow, meow, meow. Sharif Snugs, what's up, Sharif? Save your knuckles for justice. Thank you for supporting the show. Why celebrities get canceled, but politicians receive a pass? Oh boy. If Weinstein was a governor, I don't think he would have went to prison. Cancel Biden. Yeah, it's a fantastic question, Sharif, and I really appreciate you support the show a lot. It's also shows you how corrupt our in your question. Just your question alone shows you even, and celebrities get away with a lot of shit because they're rich. First of all, rich people get away with shit. Rich politicians who have even more power get away because rich people can just buy their way out of shit, right? And celebrities are generating revenue for people. So a big studio and the agents make a profit, their lawyers make a profit. So if this big celebrity goes under and can't make tens of millions of dollars doing their movies and their TV shows, their concerts, or whatever thing they're doing, then, hey, I, as their manager or their agent or their attorney, I'm going to lose money. Or this studio that has we were going to build a big movie around them, or like Live Nation. We had this 40 city stadium tour that was going to bring in, $50 million or whatever. So all those people stand to lose a lot of money. So then those people are in a position to try to protect that celebrity. Well, that's even more if you're a politician, because this politician that I've financially supported, I'm a big corporation, I'm a big billionaire donor, let's say, and I've given this politician, in this case, you're using Joe Biden. Let's say Joe Biden. I'm Pfizer, right? I've given Joe Biden all this money to block Medicare for all. So if he goes down, who's going to replace him? What if it's Bernie Sanders? Oh boy. So we're going to give Joe Biden a pass. We're going to let him stay in power. That's why. That's why. Follow the money, dude. That's it. Whoever generates the most money and can wield the most power, that's the person that's going to get protected. I mean, because politicians are useful puppets to have. So now let's say I'm a billionaire and I was hanging out with Epstein. I'm Les Wexner, let's say. Well, now, politician who I've bought, you better damn well make sure this investigation doesn't come near me. And then something pops up with this politician. Well, then I, billionaire, Wexner type, whatever, who has ties to Epstein and Ghislaine and all those horrifying assholes, I will make sure that a politician that's going to cover my ass stays in power. Right? And it's not just the Epstein stuff, Avi. Just pick one of the big awful businesses. I'm the head of Boeing. I've given you money for your campaign. You get busted doing some creepy shit. I'm going to make sure you stay in power because you're making sure the war machine goes on. Look who supports Biden. All of the awful, scary, horrible industries that are destroying this planet. That's who, right? So you're absolutely right. And that's why. Matt S. Good to have you back. Thank you, Matt. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And so many of you said so many wonderful things on my social media posts when I posted about my dad. I appreciate that. I didn't want to post about him, but like some of my siblings had, and then my dad taught at Southern Connecticut State University. So late in life, he was retired, came out of retirement, to teach graduate student or undergrads at this little community college because they lived in New Haven, and my stepmom was working in New Haven, and he was like, he couldn't be retired. It drove him nuts. So he was like, he went back to teaching grad or undergrads, and he loved it because they were just like more. They didn't have all this. He was used to dealing with grad students that had, all this knowledge, and they were magna cum laude and all these really highly accomplished. And he was teaching like middle class, working class kids who went to public school, who like, this is the only college they could get into and or afford. And he loved it. And he loved teaching them theater. And he actually asked me to come speak. I spoke at Southern Connecticut University back maybe 15 years or so ago when I had done the game shows, Strip Poker and maybe Cram. They were on the air at the time. And so these young theater students wanted to meet. My dad was like, that's my son. They were like, what? He works in show business. They lived in Connecticut, and we're like, huh? They just thought show business was a million miles away. And I came and talked to him about the business side of it. It was pretty cool. Yeah. So that's where we're at. Thank you so much. J.H. Scott 6. Thank you, J.H. Scott, for supporting the show. Hi, condolences to you on your father's passing. Thank you. Thank you for talking about grieving. It's definitely not a linear process. Yeah, it's totally non-linear. Grieving is like, goes all over the place. And like, I always say, give yourself permission to be non-linear. Like, if 2 weeks from now, I need to just like take another break, I will. If a month from now, I need to like, 6 months from now, whatever. Go easy, take a break. I should be able to do that. It's okay. It's totally okay. And the thing too, like, I was crying. I had a bad day. I don't say that anymore. If I had a day where I was like, and I went through, I had to do trauma therapy and all this stuff. And there's a great book for male survivors of childhood sexual trauma called Victims No Longer. And they say men need to cry between 800 to 1,200 hours to process the grief of that abuse as a kid. So let yourself cry. It's okay. And, I would like, I'm out and about or I'm doing a show. I'm like, I don't feel comfortable doing it here, but when I get home, I will. And I just like, phone off, just take some time, just maybe call some people that are close to me or whatever, support group friends or whatever, and talk about it. And I cannot say enough about how important support groups can be. So if you're going through serious grief of losing a family member or a loved one or something, go to some support groups. There's grief support groups and stuff that they're really, really helpful to talk, because you're going to meet people that you don't know them, but you know them. Like, you might know all the detail. I don't know where they grew up and this and that and what they do for a living or whatever, but man, we share this thing and they can talk to me in a way that other people can't. That's a very valuable thing. So thanks for supporting the show, dude. Make sure I didn't miss any of the... Okay, there's some other super chats I'm going to have to go back and get, but I'll get these ones now so we can put them on the screen. North American Ape, Shaving Knuckles for Justice. Thank you for supporting the show. Kamala Harris already attacked Trump's female court pick. What a sexist. LOL. Can't wait to start using that in line on Neolibs. How does it feel now? Oh, I know. And look, Ruth Bader Ginsburg obviously did a lot of she was, the first woman and all that, and did a lot of great stuff. But also was asked to step down and retire when Obama was in office, and she wouldn't, because people were worried of this very thing happening. Nico House also did a video talking about why she was in favor of Roe v. Wade and abortion was because there's some racist stuff. He read it. He read what she said. And she's like, well, we got to control the populations, especially blacks and Latinos. She said something to that effect. Don't quote me directly, but I saw a video that Nico House did. Watch that and get a little more information. So it's like, she wasn't perfect, but it's like, Obama should have got a Supreme Court justice. Whatever. It's just, they're such jackasses, the Democrats. Hey, Mayors, what's up, Anna? Spent the whole weekend painting my bathroom an aged pepper color. I think there's some subconscious intent there. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Jorge Ruiz, Shaving Knuckles for Justice. Thank you. My condolences, bro. If there's anything I can do, I'm here for you. Shaving Knuckles for Justice. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate everybody reaching out. Maybe a mod, Graham, get some of these trolls out of here. Oh, I don't know. Maybe Kate's not around today. Thanks, Emberg33. Thank you, Jody. No one talks to me, Graham, at AA. Well, I'm sorry, Jack. Go to some different meetings. That's what I would do. I'd go to different meetings. If I was in a 12-step where they were like, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to different meetings then. And now they're all online. You can go. I've gone to meetings in other countries because it's all on Zoom now. Find some new meetings. You know, that's the beauty of it. Dems should have rightfully impeached Trump long ago over funneling tax money to his business worldwide, but instead, Ukraine get. Yeah, I know. The emollients clause was the thing. Like the minute he was sworn in, they could have impeached him on that because he wouldn't. But they didn't do it. Thank you, Independent Left News. Yeah, it's good we talk about our feelings, Julie. It's been 2 years since my dad passed. I still see him on the street occasionally, only realizing it. Only it's some old guy with the same posture. Oh, man, yeah. What's up? Thanks, Wan Chat. I just knew your story, Graham. Please take care. Thanks, Wan Chat. Appreciate it. Always take breaks for grieving. Absolutely. Yep. Voter purging in both parties got us Trump. Hack the trolls. Get third option. Absolutely. The Ron Paul stroke was something else sad but true. It could happen to anyone. Yep, I know. Nothing this selfish could ever be called a society. Yeah. All right, let's read some of the super chatters. Okay, there's a couple I missed. All right. Sharif Snug, Shaving Knuckles for Justice. How possible to have Richard Wolff on your show? Oh, I'm trying. I don't know him. So I've reached out to him on social media and maybe I've reached out to him on social media and hopefully he'll get, but I really want to have him on the show. What's happening? Kate is our moderator. She's here. Yeah, there are a couple of supers left. Kate is a fantastic moderator. 247 viewers, 180 likes. Please hit the like button. Sharif Snugs. Sharif, thank you so much for supporting the show, dude. Really appreciate it. Russia, China, Venezuela, and Iran are experimenting with crypto. All these countries fear U.S. power to sanctions them. If these countries get off the petrodollar, is that World War III, or is the U.S. too big to fail? Remember Gaddafi? Ooh, great questions. So we've talked about this a lot. You're seeing one of the reasons I'm bringing up more and more about crypto is not just because I'm learning more about it. One of the reasons I'm learning more about it is about everything you're talking about. So we've talked a lot on this show over the last 3 years about the petrodollar. Those of you new to this, here's what it means. The petrodollar is how the whole world has been buying and selling oil. They've had to use the US dollar. It's one of the ways the American empire stays in power. Every time someone has said they want to get off the petrodollar, Saddam, Gaddafi, they get one between the eyes. They get taken out. So when China said several years ago, we're going off the petrodollar, and they're using their own now, the petro yuan. So if you want to buy and sell oil with China, and they mainly buy it because they're a huge consumer of oil now, when that happens, then they have to use the petro yuan. Sorry, I got tangled into some tech stuff. Then they have to use the petro yuan. So what this you're talking about, and all of these countries you're talking about, Venezuela, we have sanctioned them. They can't buy or have oil refining parts and chemicals and things used. I don't know the specifics, but I've done a video on it. The specific things you need to refine oil, because Venezuela has like the #1 oil reserves in the world now. That's why we've been, they're so bad, Maduro's awful, and Juan Guaido's the new president. Chavez got to power in the late 90s and nationalized the oil and started giving people money when everyone's like, socialism fails. No, it was working quite well. And it was very much saying F you to the United States empire. And that's why we came in. That's why then when we went after, when everything's Saddam and lying about weapons of mass destruction, that's why George Bush was like, yeah, and Venezuela, it was like Iran and Iraq and Venezuela. And we're like, Venezuela, what did they do? Oh, they said they didn't want to use the petrodollar. So what you're talking about here, it is scary about World War III, because Russia and China have their own pipelines now. They're trading in Central Asia. So Russia, China, Pakistan, Kyrgyzstan, a couple of those other, India, Central Asian countries, we're all buying and selling goods with each other. And prior to March 13th of this year, they were all buying and selling goods in the dollar. So we all know, all right, you have your currency, I have mine, but we'll buy and sell using the dollar. So they got rid of another way to take power away from the United States, which could, and I hope it doesn't happen, trigger some type of World War III, America lining up to fight everybody because we're losing our power, which is a scary, scary thought. We're only in war in 7 countries. What are we going to make it 50 now? So that's scary. But I think what ultimately is going to happen is the U.S. is going to face economic collapse. It's coming no matter what. And we're not going to be able to be in all these crazy wars. The economic collapse is coming, which is another reason to get into crypto. Now, Japan, all these other countries too, as you mentioned, and other countries, even the United States, I'm told, is trying to figure out how to use its own cryptocurrency, because everybody sees the writing on the wall. Just for international trade, I'm a guy, right now my store's down, but when I've had an online store, grahamelwood.com, shipping is an issue, but it was also hard to take money from foreign countries because I had to use PayPal and all this other stuff. If we use crypto, we can buy and sell anything. We can trade it, and there's less fees. By the way, I've just added to my show notes, there hasn't been any new videos, but upcoming videos will have, I now have a Bitcoin wallet, a Bitcoin Cash wallet, and an Ethereum wallet if you want to donate to the show in crypto. So it could lead to World War III, Sharif. I hope it doesn't. But it's definitely, because everyone's bailing on the petrodollar, it's forcing all these countries to go into crypto. And eventually America is going to create its own cryptocurrency. Just, you're going to have all these businesses starting to use crypto. There's a realtor in Los Angeles who's starting to use crypto. I'm starting to see it little bit more here and there. Like if you go on eBay, I sold some stuff on eBay, and there's a little box you can check. Is crypto available? And I was like, yeah, I'll take crypto. Nobody offered to pay that, but that's a thing on eBay now. So it's significant. Great question. Kate, what's up, Kate? Shave Your Knuckles for Justice. She's our moderator. Show her some love. Let's make sure everything's going good. You can buy Tesla in Bitcoin. Wow. That's good to know. Seems we're always at war. Buy land and prepare your skill in growing food if you can. You're right, Wanchat. Yeah. Okay. Kate. My grandpa was a mortician. He said funeral directors, owners of funeral homes emotionally punish people at their lowest point. Honor their memory the way they would want to. Sorry for your loss. Thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah. And also too, like when I die, I'm going to be cremated and put my ashes in the ocean and talk about me in like, if you need to cry, awesome, cry, but tell fun stories. Talk about the time I made you laugh. Tell about the time I pissed you off. I don't care. Celebrate my life. That's what I think the best way to do is to just celebrate someone's life. And I think it's okay to talk about some things somebody did wrong. Not just, oh, they were amazing, everything was great when they die. Like, yeah, I don't want that. So thanks, Kate. Big Baby Zuba, Shave Your Knuckles for Justice. Hey, Graham, sorry I missed your tea. Stay cool. I will, brother. Matt S. Shave Your Knuckles for Justice. As someone who buys a lot of junk, I just remember the experiences of traveling enriched me more as a person. I'm sure you may feel similarly. Absolutely. Yeah. Traveling changes. I mean, I've always said this, like, I know we got a pandemic, but when it opens, meet new people. Go to a country where you don't speak the language and have to figure it out. Have to like fumble through ordering. Donde está? Like, it's a good experience to like, don't put yourself in an unsafe situation, but like, and then you see people help you. And then, you know what, when you come back to America and you see a foreign tourist, you're also more open to, oh, what do you need help with? Like, I remember I was in a Best Buy before the shutdown, maybe beginning of the year. And there was these people, 2 or 3 people, man, a woman, or 2 women and a son or something like that. And they were Brazilian and they didn't speak much English. And they were trying to, and the guy was like, didn't eat anything. And I was like, oi, brasileiro. Oh my God, obrigado. And they start speaking really fast. I said, fala mais devagar, por favor. Eu falo português pouco, which means speak a little slowly, please. I speak a little Portuguese. And they're like, oh, okay. And they were trying to buy a clock radio. And they're like, pointing at this, and they're like, musica e tempo. And I was like, oh, clock radio. Oh. And I helped them, and they were so, oh my God. And they were talking, and where are you from? And this and that. And I said, I was married to a Brazilian woman, and they were like, it was such a cool thing, because I've literally been in Brazil going, trying to get around. And so people would help. It's a cool thing, man. You learn so much. BA, Shave Your Knuckles for Justice. Have you seen Occupy Democrats Facebook? I posted truth about Biden's record, and I got buried with 1 million anti-Trump posts. All Biden sociopaths. Yeah, they're psychopaths. They're nuts. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. Anthony, Shave Your Knuckles for Justice. Hi, I am Mr. Democrat, I would like to increase your access to affordable quality healthcare, not improve quality or make affordable, just your access. Yeah. I know. And sure enough, Biden is talking about, oh, they're going to get rid of, Trump's going to get rid of Obamacare. So if he becomes president, he'll just save Obamacare. And everyone will go, yay, we did it. And I'll go, no, I want Medicare for all. You don't get my vote unless you give me Medicare for all. I don't want low interest student loans. I want free college tuition. I got my degree, but everybody else's kids should get free college tuition. And people, working class people, poor and working class, who like college is not even an option, they need to now know that they can have college. Do that overnight. God, they're so fucking stupid, the Democrats. Hey, Mayors, what's up? Thank you for supporting the show. Oliveria was the name of my first boss, who I turned into the IRS for not paying employment taxes. So I'm super happy to give that word a new meaning. Your approach to death is the healthiest I've seen lately. We love you. Oh, hey, Mayors, thank you so much. And thanks for turning in your crooked boss. Emberg 33, what's up, brother? Sorry I'm late. I was at Flappers seeing a Lord of the Rings comedy special, but unfortunately one comedian compared Gandhi Frodo to Biden Harris. Oh God, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I had to go through that. That really, I'm sorry. EuropeanHomelands.com. Shave your knuckles for justice. Progressives force diversity on people and then call nationalists divisive. Oh, here we go. You're a white nationalist, huh? So your racism is one against God's law. You're spitting in the face of Jesus Christ, who loved everybody. You should realize that we're not in a race war; we're in an economic war. So get. Jesus was a socialist, right? Jesus was a socialist. And you're talking about neoliberals and identity politics. And if you want to be critical of that, that's fine. But you need to get a little more knowledgeable about that. And also racism, your style of the white nationalists are what's holding this country back. This country should be leading the way. We should be leading the way in all of these amazing categories: technology, environmental technology. All of Americans should be working to save the environment, and we export that technology and those resources out to the world. But instead, we got to fight fucking racists. People still want to wave the Confederate flag, which was a losing army. People who wave the Nazi, those are losers. Those are awful losers. My uncles fought fascists in World War II. So you're on the losing team, and you're holding this country back from being great. Diversity, actually, at its core, it's not just ethnic diversity. It's a diversity of ideas. You bring in someone, you have a bunch of people who all kind of grew up with the same idea. You bring in some new ideas that you hadn't thought of before. That's where the best innovation comes from. This country used to lead the world in innovation. We put somebody on the moon. We've come up with all these innovations, and now we lead the world in handgun deaths, school shootings, morbid obesity, childhood obesity, people dying because they don't have health insurance. We lead the world in all these stupid categories, and it's because white nationalists such as yourself aren't smart enough to realize that you're getting fucked by billionaires. You think you're getting fucked by Latinos and blacks or whatever. So you've been lied to and propagandized, and you, just like the neoliberal Biden Harris supporter, have your head so firmly up your fucking ass that you can't even read a goddamn book to understand who's actually screwing you. An immigrant didn't steal your job. A billionaire did. If you motherfuckers wise the fuck up and got on the right side of thing, instead of wearing guns because you can't wear a fucking mask in public and get a haircut, and realized, oh, I'm getting screwed over by the billionaire sex trafficking ruling class, you have way more in common with a working class black or Latino than you do with some fucking idiot like Trump or one of these other Klan member morons. So if you don't possess the ability to read like real information and you just want to hang out with fucksticks, then you need to get one between the eyes like all of my uncle and their friends did when they killed Nazis in World War II. Emberg 33, shave your knuckles for justice. Did you watch my skits? I DM you. No, Mark, I've had zero time to do any of that. I haven't really been on social media much at all. Susan Jacobson, Shaving Knuckles for Justice. I'm very sorry about your loss. Glad to see you back, and thank you for talking about your loss. It's an important conversation to have. You got it. Chris Leone, Shaving Knuckles for Justice. 1 out of 5 Latinos see themselves as people of color. Interesting statistic. T. Ad, I can't sure if I read this one, but we'll read it again. We love you, G. God bless you and your family. Thank you for taking time to be with us today. Emberg 33, Shaving Knuckles for Justice. To be frank, I think it's too late for Draft Jesse. He waited much too long, but you interviewing him might salvage a victory. I'm pissed at Jesse. Well, I get that, man. I would love to see him in there. I'd love to see him in there too, but it was a long shot to begin with. Emberg 33. Lots of leftist YouTubers fell into the agree to hate Venezuela, so we talk about Denmark, cough, secular talk, cough. Funny. Oh, shit, that's funny. Oh, shit, that's funny. Sharif Snug, Shaving Knuckles for Justice. Also, Walmart, Facebook, Chase, Amazon, and Disney is experimenting with crypto. I'm sure they are. Everyone's awake. Look, if you watch the interview I did with Christy I from Boomer Bust, she says all these venture capitalist firms and foreign investors are shorting the dollar, which means, and this is my basic understanding of it, in essence, it means they're betting against the dollar. They're putting money into investing, hoping that the dollar is going to nosedive. And let me tell you something, big investment firms don't lay out that kind of capital unless they know they're right and or can manipulate the markets to work to their advantage. So another reason, everyone sees the writing on the wall. And when you're right, when these big companies that you just listed, Sharifs, if companies create their own coins, will this crush workers if companies pay their own workers with their own coins without the U.S. involvement? That's a great question. And I would want to ask somebody that's a little more knowledgeable about economics and finance and currencies than I do. Again, that's not my strength, not my area of expertise. I'm just learning more about it. And I'm going to bring more people like Christy I on the show. Or Fidel Kaboub I've had on the show, or Stephen Hale. I don't think it will, and here's why. Just my personal experience. So as I've talked about before, I'm on Rockfin, which is fantastic. They pay me and all content creators. So YouTube gives me money, US dollars, right? For the super chats and for the clickable ads. Rockfin pays me in cryptocurrency. It's a token that they create. Basically what you're talking about. Rockfin has created its own cryptocurrency. Rockfin is 10 times smaller than any of these giant corporations that you've listed. So they pay me in this token, and then any cryptocurrency like that, the Ray token it's called, I then take it to this online marketplace and I can convert it to Ethereum. And then I can convert that to Bitcoin and go into a place like Coinbase, and there's other platforms like that. I use Coinbase, and I have this $10 referral thing. You get $10 in free Bitcoin. I get $10 in free Bitcoin, and it's in the show notes. So I just use Coinbase, but there's other ones. There's plenty of others out there. So I get paid in Ray tokens. I can convert it. I have to convert it to Ethereum first. And then from Ethereum, I can convert it to cash or US dollars. I can convert it to Australian dollars. I can convert it to Bitcoin, or any of the other tokens. So if I'm if I'm an employee at one of these companies, let's just say Walmart, and they pay me, and let's say I'm just going to pick a number, round number. They pay me, I get $500 a week in Walmart crypto. I can take that Walmart crypto and convert it to whatever I want. I can cash it out to US dollars and pay my rent with it. my car payment. So I don't think it will. I don't think it will crush workers if companies pay their own workers with their own coins without the U.S. involvement. I think it'll crush the U.S. I think it'll crush the Federal Reserve. Again, a financial expert, Sharif, might have a much more educated, involved, and detailed response to that than I just gave you. But from what I see, as somebody who gets paid in crypto, I just cashed some of it out. I cashed it into US dollars and wiped out all. I have no more credit card debt. I'm out of debt. I don't want the banks to have any more. Banks don't have any debt. Other than my car loan, but that's secured debt. So I have no more unsecured debt, which is something I recommend. They want us in debt. They want us paying these crazy interest rates. So I don't think so. There's just going to be more. I think what it would mean is if you have however many Walmart employees or Facebook, let's just take, again, we'll just use Walmart as an example. Let's say, and I don't know the exact number, but let's say there's 100,000 Walmart workers in the United States. So now you've got 100,000 people who are now getting paid in crypto. And let's say 90% of them never used crypto in the past. So 90,000, let's say 10,000 of them were already involved in crypto and they get it and they understand it and they're like, awesome. So now you've got 90,000 people. And again, I'm just picking these numbers kind of out of thin air, but just to illustrate an example. Let's say there's 90,000 people, Walmart employees, who now have cryptocurrency. That means there's 90,000 more people in the economy who are like, hey, I can go through the whole process to convert this to US dollars and buy things as I always have bought them. But now there's 90,000 people who are like, wait a minute. Hey, does your business take crypto? If Walmart starts paying people in crypto, more businesses are going to start taking crypto. That means Walmart is going to accept crypto, I would imagine. So you go into your local Walmart and you just pay off of your crypto wallet that's on your smartphone. So Visa, PayPal, all these people's fees and all this stuff. I don't know, like it takes the power away from the centralized banks. I don't know. Maybe I don't know enough about global finance. That could very well, my answer could be 1,000% wrong because I just don't know. Someone will come in and, well, Graham, there's this and this and this because I don't, but to me, it seems like it would be a good thing for all of us. And it would be good for the workers. But I think Walmart and them are seeing crypto's coming. They can't stop it. And they're like, well, we better get in on and make some money off of this. That's my guess. If there's a way for them to figure out how to fuck their workers using crypto, I'm sure they will figure it out. And you might very well be correct that this is, or the answer to your question might be yes, it does hurt workers. From what I see it, as a guy that's been getting paid in crypto for the last year or so on Rockfin, and as I'm getting more knowledgeable and I'm trading it and converting it to different coins, because that's how I've learned just the basic of currency trading. So this past week, Rockfin went up to about 75, 80 cents a coin, up from 30 some cents a coin. It went up to about 80 cents a coin. Today, I forget what it's trading at, maybe 65 or 70 cents, but it's doubled. Let's say it was roughly 35 cents a coin. Now it's 70 cents a coin. That's doubling, right? Ethereum went down. It dropped to it was up at like 370, 380, down from 400 a month ago, and it dropped again to 350. I personally, this is where the sort of speculative investment gambling comes into play. Everyone that I'm reading and talking about is saying Ethereum is going to go through the roof. When the US dollar crashes, then crypto is going to go back. All these cryptos are going to go through the roof. And Ethereum is the second most popular. There's Bitcoin and then Ethereum, right? So I've watched these videos and I've watched a lot of people that seem like they're way smarter than I am about this say, move into Ethereum. So I took some of my Ray tokens and I was able to buy more Ethereum now because Ray went up and Ethereum went down. So now I'm actually expanding my portfolio. Let's say I had whatever, again, round numbers, $1,000 in Ray tokens, right? And All right, 1,000 Ray tokens. 1,000 Ray tokens that were trading at 35 cents. So it was worth $3,500. Now it's worth $7,000. So now I can buy $7,000 of Ethereum that's worth less, meaning I get more Ethereum coins for my Ray. So that when Ethereum goes through the roof, I'll actually make more money. That's how you expand your portfolio, if that makes sense. I know I sort of went off into sort of a more detailed tangent about Rockfin crypto and my personal investing strategy. But that point, what I'm personally doing from watching all these other crypto channels, I watch The Moon, I watch Crypto Casey, I watch the Bitcoin channel, and I watch Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And then I watch shows like Boom or Bust. We had Christian, and I watch the Kaiser Report on occasion, those are 2 RT shows. So again, I telling all of that, going into all that detail, I still come back to the same answer, my friend, that I don't think it'll crush workers. I actually think it could help workers because any crypto is empowering. So that's my thinking. And I could be wrong. It's a long answer, but it's a great, goddamn dude. You ask great questions, man. Gets us thinking, gets us talking. You want to learn. Hey, Mayor, shave your knuckles for justice. Affordable healthcare signs with Biden Harris sprouting up in Iowa. It's hard to resist the urge to light them on. Oh, God. Yeah, I don't want affordable healthcare. I want Medicare for all. I want free healthcare. The richest country in the history of the world that spends trillions of dollars on war should give its citizens free healthcare. It's that simple. It's that simple. 291 watching, 253 likes. Hit the like button. Jesus would be banned from the USA, of course. What's up, Backyard Politics? Check out her show. Andrew Dwyer, what's up, Andrew? Shave your knuckles for justice. Would you say term limits is a smokescreen for getting money out of politics? Not strongly against term limits, but not sure it will fix the corruption. Yeah, I think term limits. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's a great way to put it, as a smokescreen for getting money. Because what we need to do is get money out of politics. Politicians that are becoming, Nancy Pelosi's worth $100 million. There's no way for that to have happened without corruption, without her. So these politicians that are making all this money do not want to get money out of politics. So again, they offer term limits. That's what they do. We want this real thing. We know what we want. We want money out of politics. All right, you got it. I'll give you term limits. I want free healthcare. Here you go, Obamacare. More access. That's not what I asked for. End all the wars. Save the planet from climate collapse. We want a Green New Deal. You got it. Green up the military. Again, fuck not. That's not what I asked for. You're absolutely right, Andrew. It's another, yeah. But again, let's look at the history of term limits. So, and I'm not saying I'm in favor of term limits, but let's not forget, remember FDR? He couldn't lose because he kept helping the people. He took care of the people. He didn't take care of the 1%. Now he said, a lot of people say FDR saved capitalism. He went to the rich guys and said, you better let me do my thing and play ball or capitalism is over. They're going to string you up and kill you. Because the Depression, we weren't around then. You don't understand. Do some research on the Depression. It was brutal. There was labor riots. There was food riots. Crime went through the roof. All the gangster stuff that happened during the Depression. The bootlegging, people had to sell their children. It was brutal. It was awful. It was awful. And it's going to happen again times 100 here. So if the people don't get what they need, it's going to get brutal. But again, going back to term limits, FDR realized this and they put term limits on him because he was so popular. He won 3 times and they were like, oh no, president can only win twice now. So, yeah. I oppose Jesus. Christianity is religious communism that was forced on native Europeans. Okay. You keep arguing this bullshit. You're never going to change my mind. White nationalism, which is what you are, is the problem with the world. You are getting in the way of America actually being an amazing place. You are. You're the problem. Look in the mirror. You've probably been abused as a kid, and that's why you're angry at the white nationalism. You haven't dealt with your childhood abuse. You probably have some type of addiction or that's tied into the abuse. That's why you're pushing this bullshit. Every I've ever met, they've always like, there was abuse, there was mental illness, there's addiction. And like any addict, they blame everybody else. That's what addicts do. You're the addict. You got drunk. You smashed your car up. No, the cop fucked me. You showed up at work drunk. No, man, the boss had it in for me. You have horrible ideas. Oh, Latinos took my job. Whatever. You want to keep giving this show money? I don't care. Just know that the money you give me goes to help hippie products. Dan L. Values, condolences. Hey, Nancy Pelosi extended financial aid to Cobra. Come on, man. Again, yeah. And dumb neoliberals will go, yay, Pelosi fights for us. She extended financial aid to Cobra. No, all these other things all dance around that. We all want free healthcare. This country can afford free healthcare. I told you this. I did a video on this. JFK did a speech in 1962. In 1962, JFK said, we're decades behind Europe with free healthcare. Decades. JFK said this. Decades behind. In 1962, we were decades behind. So we're 70 years behind Europe. Wait, Nancy, it's all this. They just give you all these band-aids, and the neoliberals get in the way and go, this is what, see, the Democrats are fighting for us. No, they're fighting for table scraps. The Republicans are the rich people that like see homeless digging through their trash and want to shoot them and lock them up. And the Democrats go, oh, we'll let you dig through our trash after our kid's birthday party. And we're all supposed to go, oh my God, thank you, Democrats. No. We've all been brainwashed. No one should be digging through the trash for food. Everything should be taken care of. This country has plenty of money for everything. Why are we bombing 7 countries? Why is there still contaminated water in not just Flint, but 1,000 cities across America? That's not an exaggeration. That number is accurate. Here we are in a pandemic. There's 28 million evictions that are already starting. Keep people in their homes. If everybody got free healthcare, $3,000 a month, UBI, no evictions happening, the landowners, the renters, everybody was taken care of financially, rather than the $4.25 trillion that was given to Wall Street, because we are in class warfare right now. We are at war with the 1%. They are keeping us divided, thinking it's a race war. And you watch Fox News, and these Trumpers and white people think they're under siege. They think they're under siege by blacks, and Black Lives Matter and Antifa are coming to them. It's all to keep us divided from the fact that the 1% is screwing us over. So like a white nationalist is just a pawn of the billionaire ruling class. They're just drinking the Kool-Aid thinking, oh, the white man is being repressed. Oh, Jesus. Trump's border wall. I've talked about this a year ago. Trump's border wall. It's to keep us all in. They're ramping us into civil war. It's already starting because they don't want us unifying together. Think about it. Those Second Amendment white nationalist people that took over that Capitol building in Michigan, they did it because they couldn't get a haircut and they were sick of wearing a mask. That's perfect. They're like, yay, thank you. Thank you, Second Amendment people, for not understanding who the true enemy is, which is the 1% ruling class that owns both political parties. Thank you for thinking it's just this liberal or that Democrat or Black Lives Matter or whatever. Because if those people woke up, they would be arm in arm with Black Lives Matter. And they would all say, hey, let's get together and we need labor. We need a labor movement. We are at war with the 1%. The 1% is killing us. The 1% doesn't give a shit about us. They don't care if we get COVID. They don't care if we have anything. But nobody wants to wake up to that. Yeah. Just keep watching whatever nonsense is on whatever thing. Whatever liar channel you want to watch, Fox or MSNBC. Just keep watching the liars. Little Rock elevators, boom. When will you and Jimmy do another interview together? Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, I just talked to him a little while ago. Hey, Truth to Tweet, what's up? Yeah, well, I'll get him on this show. He'll be on that show again. Yeah, I miss doing that so much, but it'll happen. Bo of the Fifth Column, check him out after Graham. Josh, thank you. Bo of the Fifth, watch that show. That guy does great stuff. I don't know him personally, but he's like in his like garage or tool shed or something. And he's like a red state guy that looks like he works on the farm or whatever. It's a hunter, fisherman, gun guy, whatever, who's like talks to that group and shows them in their language how they're getting screwed. It's a solid show. Well, Bill Maher thinks scapegoating the left for the failures of the Democratic Party is an own. There's zero introspection there. Oh, he's the worst. He's a rich neoliberal. He's the worst. He's the worst. He is the worst. He's the worst. Nail Flanagan, Shaving Knuckles for Justice. Really appreciate your voice, Graham. Crypto was good information too. Condolences, my friend. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I really do. We got 287 likes. Oh, I think I missed that one, Mad S. Yeah, that one snuck through. Sorry. Mad S. Sorry, brother. I missed this one. My fault. Shave Your Knuckles for Justice. Thank you for supporting the show. I had some thoughts and questions on the Breonna Taylor verdict, Black Lives Matter, and Antifa, but maybe another time. Today, just a nice Sunday to enjoy. Right on. Thanks, man. Yeah, the Breonna Taylor verdict was awful. We talked about it when I was on Ron's show. Just fucking unbelievable. I'll just show you this. Probably go for another 10 minutes or so, maybe. We'll do a couple. Oh, come on. Emberg 33, Shave Your Knuckles for Justice, 2 week, $2,000 weekly UBI. Work pay is typically weekly. Yep. Fatima Jahan, 7 countries destroyed in the last decade. Greater Israel agenda. Nutty Yahoo says jump and our politicians go ho high. Karma will get them eventually. Yeah. Matt S, what's up, dude? Shave your knuckles for justice. If we reduce the military, do you firmly believe we could fund programs helping homeless, Medicare, student debt? Thanks, Matt. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we spend over $750 billion a year on the military. So if we cut that in half, you're talking about 300 some billion dollars a year just from that. Just from that. Not to mention the hundreds of billions of dollars that big companies like Amazon don't pay. Not to mention war companies like Boeing and Northrop Grumman that get tax breaks and stimulus money on top of it. You take all that money together, you're getting into the trillions of dollars. And we could still spend our money on military, like hunting human trafficking, stopping that, providing security so countries can like build schools and do that, and environmental security to help with how environmental collapse is destabilizing countries. Oh, well, this country wants to build, Yemen wants to build a, solar panel factory or whatever to help its citizens. And, oh, there's some people that are trying to stop that. Okay, so we'll provide security for that. Not going and bomb and kill poor people. It drives me nuts. I really do. They absolutely could fund homelessness, Medicare, student debt, etc. Thanks, man. And you look at the Federal Reserve that creates money and gives it to people. If we're going to just create money, then let's do it for good things, not Wall Street. It fucking drives me nuts, man. Oh. Thank you, Matt S. Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood, and you are watching The Political Vigilante. Well, the verdict in the Breonna Taylor case came down, and they're basically charging the officers not for murder, what they should do, but more evidence has come forward. New ballistics report has come forward, ladies and gentlemen. Ballistic report doesn't support the Kentucky Attorney General's claim that Breonna Taylor's boyfriend shot the cop. That's one of the claims. Oh, he shot the cop. They had to. That's always the cops. They had no choice. They always have no choice when they kill people. No choice. We feared for our lives. Do firefighters do that when they fear for their lives? Do they just kill people? We feared for our lives, so we just let this guy burn to death. We fucking took him out with an axe. Emergency room doctors and nurses fear for their lives all the time. Somebody comes in full of meth, crazy, boom, fighting. They don't just kill them. They just shoot, boom, 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 boom. No, they sedate them. They restrain them. I hear all this talk about all this non-lethal force, and yet it's never used. It's used on a white guy. When a white guy waves his gun around or a knife, there's video after video, all these white guys doing crazy shit, and they're not getting shot. And then the All Lives Matter group always comes forward and says, yeah, cops kill more unarmed white people than black people. Okay, if that's true, you should then be on the side of defunding the police. If police are just wantonly killing unarmed anybody of any ethnicity, wouldn't that be concerning for you? I don't want to call the police for any reason because that means someone could die. I could call there could be some crime happening or something, and I call the cops and they mistake me and just shoot me. I don't trust them. Guy shows up with a badge and a gun. He's not, I don't know. He sees my Black Lives Matter protest in his window. Maybe he just takes me out. I don't trust them at all. That's more nonsense, though. This ballistic claim and a Kentucky State Police ballistic report does not support the state Attorney General Daniel Cameron's assertion that Breonna Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, shot a police officer the night she was killed. Oh, she was a drug dealer. She was doing crime. Like all those things always get planted to justify cops, fascist police just killing citizens. This is what happens in a fascist country. Cops can do whatever the fuck they want, and people justify it. The Germans in Nazi Germany justified what the Nazis did. I was just following my orders. That's what the cops say. That's what the Nazis said. I was told I was just following my orders. I was just driving this train full of Jews and gypsies and homosexuals to a camp. I was just doing my job. You didn't have to do your job. You could have said, no, this is wrong. Cameron said Wednesday that the investigation of Taylor's death, March 13th, ruled out friendly fire from Officer Brett Hankinson as the source of the shot that went through Sergeant Jonathan Mattingly's thigh, prompting him and Officer Miles Cosgrove to return fire. The Attorney General, Daniel Cameron, let me say that again, ruled out friendly fire from Officer Brett Hankinson as the source of the shot. So Mattingly was shot in the thigh, which prompted him and Officer Miles Cosgrove to return fire, killing Taylor. The Kentucky State Police report says that due to limited markings of comparative value, the 9mm bullet that hit and exited Mattingly was neither identified nor eliminated as having been fired from Walker's gun. Cameron said Hankinson had been eliminated as the shooter because the three officers carried .40 caliber handguns while Walker had a 9mm. Wednesday night on CNN, Steve Ramonos, one of Walker's attorneys, said he obtained a Louisville Metro Police Department record showing Hankinson had been issued a 9mm weapon as well. This happens all the time. Police departments cover themselves up. This is why we need civilian oversight. And cops need to be held really accountable when they shoot somebody. There's almost no shootings in like countries like Japan because the cops, the paperwork and if you discharge a weapon, man, you are. Ramirez declared to share the record from Hankinson's personal file with the Louisville Coroner Journal, and the LMPD spokeswoman said Jessie Halliday said she could release it only in response to an open records request. Walker said he fired a single warning shot from his Glock handgun at Taylor's apartment because he thought intruders were breaking in. Police said they had identified themselves. They were attempting to serve a no-knock search warrant shortly before 1 a.m. Part of a narcotics investigation. Again, another reason why if we decriminalized narcotics and treated it as a health issue, addiction is a health issue. It's a health issue. What if we treated diabetes the way we treat drug addiction? You got sugar in your apartment. Boom. That's insane. Cameron announced Mattingly and Cosgrove were not charged with any crime because they had the right to defend themselves. They always, these little helpfulest little cops show up with guns, no knock warrant. They were on the wrong door and they just freaked. They did always, we had nothing else to do. There was a peaceful protest and we showed up in riot gear and rubber bullets and we had no choice. We had no choice. They never have a choice, these cops. EMTs have a choice when they deal with violent people in the emergency rooms. They have a choice. Firefighters have a choice. Airplane pilots, we had no choice. We just had to crash the plane. Had no choice. Cameron declined to explain. Back to this. Hankinson, who was fired in June, was charged with 3 counts of wantonly endangering Taylor's neighbors by firing shots that entered their apartment. So he wasn't charged with murdering her. He was charged for he was charged with the bullets that didn't hit anybody. That could have. The ones that killed her, those we can't hold him accountable for. He was not charged with endangering Taylor. Cameron declined to explain the discrepancy to respond to 13 other questions about the case submitted by the Courier Journal. His woman said Saturday that the officers was not scheduling interviews and couldn't talk about the grand jury proceedings because of the secrecy rules governing them. There is Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron said police had a right to defend themselves with Breonna Taylor fired their gun. Just to give you some identity politics, here's a black man as the Attorney General. This is why when we talk about defund the police, we're not talking about eliminating cops and there's no more cops. We're talking about the whole system is set up. Black Attorney General. There's a black woman who's a district attorney in Los Angeles, Jackie Weaver. She will not charge LAPD with anything ever. It's not safe for anybody of any ethnicity if the police are never held accountable. That's what a society is. People are held accountable. That's why we have laws and rules. 10 rounds. If a regular citizen just went, I feared for my life, so I shot 10 bullets into Breonna Taylor's apartment and her neighbor's apartment. Could a regular citizen do that? And this guy Cameron, I don't know much about him, but I bet you he's like, I don't want to seem like I'm soft on crime. And the police union's threatening his ass and whatever else. Cameron said last week that Mattingly fired 6 shots, Cosgrove 16 and Hankinson 10, and Taylor was hit 6 times. He said FBI ballistic examiners concluded Cosgrove fired the shot that killed Taylor. But Kentucky State Police couldn't determine whether Cosgrove or Mattingly fired that bullet. The shot hit Taylor's pulmonary artery, killing her within minutes. The city of Louisville has paid $12 million to settle a wrongful death suit. Again, this is another thing that's part of the system. The city, your tax dollars, if you live in Louisville or whatever city, so the cop is not in jail. The cop doesn't have to pay anything out of their own pocket, but the city, the taxpayers have to pay for this. Shouldn't you as a city, as a citizen of these cities that are paying with your tax dollars, want this system to be changed? The officer needs to pay out of their own pocket. The officer needs to be held accountable. There needs to be a civilian review board with nobody of any police experience, nobody who's have a relative that's a cop. That's what they're called checks and balances. That's what you have. And what's the term I want? Oh, right. A democracy. You don't just have one department that gets to do whatever they want and an attorney general that completely serves them, regardless of if that ethnicity. See how the system is broken, and putting a black man in charge doesn't fix that system? So that's the update from the Breonna Taylor case. Like, share, subscribe to this channel, put it on your social media, and let people know about it. And also support us on Patreon. I go live 4 or 5 days a week. That's free. And then the live stream immediately about an hour or so after gets put, the archive of the full live stream gets put on patreon.com/Graham Elwood at the $10 level, or rockfin.com/Graham Elwood if you're a premium subscriber on Rockfin, which is also $10. The audio podcast then goes on, the audio from the live stream then goes on Patreon and Rockfin, right? And then the audio is available later, about 3-4 days later. Great ways to support the show. Subscribe at rockfin.com, a blockchain cryptocurrency platform. Patreon, as I said, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Go to grahamelwood.com. I'm doing live Zoom shows more and stuff like that. No in-person shows yet. That'll probably won't happen until next year. And then listen to the podcast on iTunes. Subscribe to the Political Vigilante audio podcast on iTunes. And also watch Government and Secrets and listen to Government Secrets, another podcast. Thank you for watching the show. Shave your knuckles for justice. Boom, 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 boom. Zachary Tetyan, Zachary, thank you for supporting the show, brother. You're making Gotham great again. My condolences. So sad, too, because The Rock endorsed Biden. I know. Ugh. So bad. It's so bad. Little Rock Elevator, Shave Your Knuckles for Justice. Cameron is the male version of Kamala Harris. Yep. 324 likes. Outstanding. All right, folks. I'm going to go. We honestly don't know if socialism actually works. Thank you, Gamer for Life. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for all the... Thank you, everybody. Yeah, let's get these Trumpers to see the true enemy. That's the key here, folks. That's the key. There was a Supreme Court ruling in the 80s that gave the cops blanket protection. All they have to do is claim their lives are threatened. Yeah, that's all they got to say. My life was in danger. I felt like I was in danger, so I get to just shoot everybody. It's that simple. Cinderloo 2. Thank you so much for supporting the show. Peace, Graham. I lost my dad in March. Know how you're feeling. Held his hand during the last breath. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I'm sorry that happened. But it's yeah, it's a part of life to go through it and to witness it and to talk about it and express our feelings about it and go through the whole grieving process. And like it's been talked about earlier today, it's non-linear. Kind of grieving goes all over the place, and that's okay. And yeah, losing a parent is a tough thing. It's a weird thing. It's disorienting. It's a yeah. So thanks for sharing that. Thanks for supporting the show. And I appreciate all the kind words from you and everybody on all the social media. Everyone said all these wonderful things. I've gotten text messages from friends and direct messages from some of you, and everything on social media has been great. So thank you. Be your brother's keepers. Condolences, Graham. I appreciate you. Thank you. I think I educated an Alberta separatist. All right. Did you see that Azel McCaster on 60 Minutes talking about how we need to fight him over there? They're going to get us over there. Oh, God, I know. It's such a stupid principle. Anthony Chisholm, Shave Your Knuckles for Justice. Going to watch Sounders beat the Galaxy tonight? Dude, they probably will. Galaxy need a little help, dude. Galaxy need a little help. I know. Yeah, breaking news. Congress leaves again before the second COMA stimulus. They're saying after people are struggling, yeah, they don't give a shit about us. Backyard politics. Yeah, the feds have always and will always be here. Listen to Nikki's show. Watch her show. They gave trillions of dollars freebies to the wealthy. In an ironic contrast, the IRS audited my sister's taxes her first year out of college, even though she only made 15, of course. Oh, God. Yeah, that's why they're like, oh, some people are cheating on their unemployment. Oh, wow. Are they cheating more than what Wall Street does? No, they're not. Oh, okay, cool. Then we're good. Group between Amway and Iona Max Corrections. Oh, damn. Nico just posted that video about them leaving. Okay. The grief never stops. You just learn to deal with it better. Yep. Thank you, Gray Walker. Join third party. Life and death are not separate things. Oh, that's a great principle. That's a great way to think about it. They deputize a bunch of Portland cops, so the charges against protesters will be federal. Oh, Christ. Oh, all right, folks. Hit the like button. My voice is a little shot from everything this past week, so I don't know that I got a song in me, but thank you so much How am I? I'm okay. A bunch of Portland cops were deputized so the charges against protesters are federal. Jesus Christ, that's so fucked up. You want to know more about this? I would watch, subscribe to Backyard Politics. That's the name of her YouTube show. Nikki, who's one of you, she's a citizen of Gotham and a political vigilante herself that's doing really excellent work on local shit that's happening in Oregon. And so I would follow her channel, get her subscriber numbers up. So when more indie media people like this are out there on the streets, that's what I say. When I say you're all political vigilantes, this is what I mean. This is one way to do it. And I know not everybody can go on the streets and cover stuff, whatever, for whatever reasons. But like when you support indie media, man, even just subscribing right now, she's got a small little following. So if everyone jumped over and subscribed to her and got her numbers up to a couple thousand subscribers, that helps. Believe me, I know. I started this channel 3.5 years ago with 164 subscribers. Now we're over 72,000. So go support. Graham, I use the official stats and COVID-19 death rate is down 35% from mid-August. Why did we never hear about this? It's interesting. Makes me scared to protest. Seriously. I don't blame you. I mean, I think hats off to people, and I've gone to a bunch of protests who are out on the streets, and that's great, but I understand that fear. And anyone who wants to stay home, I get it. There's other ways to protest. There's boycotts. There's online stuff. There's other ways to do it. But it's true. I don't want to get fucking my head kicked in by a cop or shot or snatched up in some van and waterboarded, man. Thanks, Alan. I can't go live on the ground until I hit 1,000 subscribers. Thank you so much, Graham. Another reason to support Backyard Politics. So she wants to go live at these protests on YouTube. She can't because she doesn't have 1,000 subscribers yet. So let's get her to 1,000 subscribers. So go subscribe to her channel and then push it out on your social media. She's doing gritty fucking on the ground work. It's goddamn mother of kids out there. Fucking badass, dude. It's badass. I got mad props for you, Nikki. Mad props. Elwood for president. All right. Oh, yeah, I'm a little wiped. It's been an emotional week. I didn't even know if I was going to be able to go live. I was glad I did, and I felt good about it. And it was great having you guys all here. It makes me feel better doing this live stream, quite honestly. Do anyone else believe The Rock endorsing Biden is signaling to fall in line? Of course. Yeah, if The Rock did it, your superhero friend, your movie star buddy, The Rock's endorsing Biden, you better too. Anyone's like, I don't know. Well, The Rock did. He's cool. I like his movies. He's tough guy, badass, so then I'm going to. All right. I'll actually put the link of Nikki's show in the chat since everybody's asking. I'll put it up in a second. 382 subscribers. I am subscribed to this channel. You better subscribe too, motherfucker. Here, I'm going to put this in the chat, everybody. Thanks, Sandra. Just subbed right on. There's the subscribe. And she spells it just the way her screen name is with the IX, if you're just looking to search yourself. So there's the link right to it. Hit the subscribe button. We'll get her back on the show. Just subscribe. 383. Ah, shit. Get her up to 1,000. All right. I'm going to go. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate the love and support that you've shown me this week, and I will probably go live day by day. I don't know. I'm thinking I'm going to go live tomorrow on Rockfin, my Rockfin premium, but we'll just see how each day is. If I don't feel up to it, I ain't going to do it. If I do, I'm going to do it. I'm glad I did this. Yeah. Cool. Look at everybody subscribing to Nikki's channel. Look at that. We're going to get you up to 1,000, Nikki. I promise you that. All right. We had 347 likes right on. Anybody else who just had a family member pass away? All right. No worries, Gamer for Life. Yay, Truth to Tweet. Hello, everybody. Hey, Mares. Sad thing is she'll get to 1,000. They'll say she has 800. Oh, God, I know. So crazy. I know. I should have like 200,000 subscribers. And I'm like, whatever. Whatever. Thank you, everybody. Who or what is Nikki? Nikki is Backyard Politics. You see her in the chat here. And then I just put her, this is her channel. She has a really cool YouTube channel. She's in Oregon, so she's covering like what's going on with Portland police and the protests in Salem, Oregon too, and how they're protecting white nationalists. She's doing really good work on the ground, and she's got a small little following right now. And so we got to get that up there. That's who Nikki is, Backyard Politics. She does boots on the ground shit. Yeah, that's absolutely correct. All right. Been subbed with Backyard Politics for a while. Thanks to you, Graham. Awesome. I love this community working together. I love all of you. Thank you, Sharif and everybody. I really appreciate the love and support. You know, life's crazy. You're born and you're in this world and you run around and do a bunch of shit and then you're gone. It's crazy. I don't know when. I'll have Nikki back on the show. I don't know. It's day to day what's going on for me, just with everything with my dad passing and whatnot. So I cannot. I don't know. Just make sure you're subscribed. Follow me online, and I'll let you know. All right, everybody. Have a great day. Love you. Stay safe. You're all making Gotham great again. You're all political vigilantes. Love wins over hate. Don't let them divide us. They want us divided. They want us divided, distracted, and afraid. That is what the ruling class wants. Those three things. They absolutely want that. They want us fighting with each other. They want this to turn into a crazy race, civil war, whatever. They want it because they don't want us all together, coming together, realizing that it's the 1%. It's the brutal, pedophile, sex trafficking, billionaire ruling class. A bunch of evil, soulless sociopaths. That's who the enemy is. And they're real. Stay safe, work together. Have a great night, everybody. They used to give housewives cocaine so they could clean the house super well back in the day. Thank you for that at the end, Richard. All right, everybody. Shave your knuckles for justice.